Ask Chunt, break through the night, seek the true power and might.
Yes, here we go. I don't know, but I really like that song. I've got the long version. Might sound like I'm really into myself, and it's probably egregious and a bit weird, but I'm just proud of how those turned out. Anyway, love it. So Ask Chunt. So this comes from Sasuke, 1995. That I feel very dated about now. So anyway, so 2025 is here. What are you reading, playing, watching lately? Any recent pickups? Yes, I've been picking up a lot. I've been getting into the omnibus hobby, right? So an omnibus, I'm not going to grab one off the shelf right now, but an omnibus is like a really thick book. Probably about, this big, this thick or whatever, depending on the volume, or it could be a bit smaller, and it's an oversized hardcover print of a certain run of comic books or a certain story from like Marvel or DC or one of your favorite publishers, where they put out these big oversized deluxe volumes. I've been getting into a lot of that. I've got 2 shelves either side of me here that are just chockers of omnibus, and I've had more pre-ordered this year. Basically, yeah, the reason why is I found out that the hobby's quite popular, and I know they've been a thing for a long time, but super expensive. But Amazon, I've been buying them all on Amazon. So sorry, I haven't been able to support local businesses, but it's just way too expensive. But I've been able to get some insane discounts through Amazon. Insane. It's the only way that I've been able to get as many as I had last year. So yeah, just a lot of Marvel and DC stuff. That's like 90s stuff. I grew up in my childhood, I guess, when my formative years were in the 90s. And there are a lot of stories and books and just epic events or like keystone events that I never got around to reading because I was a kid. I just didn't have the money. I wasn't working, obviously, because I was like 10 or something. So, but I've heard about it all, like on the playgrounds and all this kind of stuff at school. And now they're printing them all in these big oversized books or whatever. I know they've been in trade paperbacks over the years, but I really like the big chunky book, right? So anytime they print it in an omnibus, I'm down for it. If I can afford it, I'll do it. I'll get it. So yeah, like I've got a lot of Superman, like 90s Superman stuff that they're printing now. The Green Lantern Jeff Johns run, I've got all of that, and the Green Lantern Corps, from Peter Tomasi, and I got the Superman, Batman omnis, from the early 2000s. I've got all the Power Rangers volumes from Boom Studios, or up to date anyway. And I've got some Avengers over here. I've got the Kurt Busiek and George Perez Omnibus 1 and 2, and Jonathan Hickman's entire Avengers run, if I can get it out, and just a number of other stuff, like a lot of Spider-Man 90s, right? I've been trying to get all the way back from like the late 80s all the way through to the mid to late 90s with the Clone Saga and all that. And some modern Spider-Man omnis where Ben Reilly comes back and he's evil and twisted and all this kind of stuff. And then I've got the entire modern Thor run in omnibus. And yeah, just some Wildcats and a few other things. Like I've got some Blue Beetle, like Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle trade paperback volumes that they put out, like compendiums they call them. And just some other compendiums which are essentially omnibuses, but they're not hardcovers. They're just soft. I got them stupid prices. So yeah, I'm just picking up all these books that I've always wanted to read. Just never had the option. Yes, I've heard some of these stories on the internet and, there's comic book channels and all that kind of stuff, but I've never read them for myself. And I've always wanted to. So here we are. So I'm looking forward to it. I have started working through, I think I'm on the 3rd volume of the Power Rangers run from Boom Studios. It's like an epic 8-year run. And I've been waiting to read it. It's pretty epic, and it's not cheesy. It's someone, I can't remember who this quote comes from, but it's everything Power Rangers was, all the cool stuff about Power Rangers, but none of the cheese, right? And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And then I started looking into it. I'm like, oh wow, it's how I remember it as a kid, like the action stuff and how cool it was and the lore, and it's really, really cool. And it takes it in a different way. So it's not like you just you're not watching the show just in comic book form. It takes it a bit seriously, and there's stakes, and I really enjoy it. So if you have been reading that, let me know your thoughts. Just don't spoil it for me. But really, really cool. Been digging it, and I picked up just recently Wildcats Compendium. That's another like peak 90s image, Jim Lee and all that kind of stuff, and Cyberforce compendium for that. That's just peak image 90s, and I've always wanted to read that stuff. So anyway, I'm getting a bit excited about that, but that's what I've been reading and what I intend to read. I've got all the event books, the major event books for DC in hardcover format as well, and the Marvelverse DC Omni. And this is going to be a bit long, so just bear with me. So there's two omnibus, right? There's the Marvelverse DC, which is all these like old school crossover stories that they used to do. We used to be able to vote in to pick the winner and whatever else, right? I've got that omnibus. It's awesome. I can't wait to read it. But the one thing I want to talk about now is Amazon kind of did me dirty. And I had the other Marvelverse DC omnibus pre-ordered about the Amalgam Universe omnibus, right? Which the Amalgam Universe was back in the 90s. They did a legit crossover, and they created this fake company called Amalgam, and they pretended as if it's always been there. So they crossed over characters from both companies of Marvel DC. So you got Dark Claw, like Wolverine, crosses Batman, Super Soldier, Captain America, and Superman, etc., etc. Iron Lantern is a cool one. Iron Man and Green Lantern crossover. So, and this, etc. You get the idea. And every issue, they only had one-shot issues, but every one was written as if it's always been there. So it's got like a previously on last issue, or it'll reference something like, hey, go see issue number whatever, as like a little note annotation in one of the panels, as if it's always been around. And anyway, so that was around my era growing up. Like we had some, my brother and I had some of those, a few issues, the Fantastic Four, whatever it was called, a crossover with whatever. And I think we might have something else as well. But that omnibus has come out, and it's been a limited print run. So anyway, Amazon, I got an email from Amazon. I've had it pre-ordered forever since they went up. And Amazon cancelled it on me, and I was like freaking out. I'm like, no, like I can't miss this. This is like part of comic book history of the Too Big Two. I want this. I can't wait to read it again, or just read all the ones I haven't read. It's a touchstone in 90s comics, or just comics in general. You just don't see that happening anymore, and I want it for posterity. And they cancelled on me. So like, oh well, there goes my pre-order bonus. Guarantee where you get the lowest price as possible, etc., etc. Anyway, so they cancelled on me, and I had to try and I spoke to them in 5 different reps to try and get an answer as to why it was cancelled, and they wiped my order reference, so I couldn't show them how cheap I actually had it going for on my account. I've been watching it for months, and I kept telling them, no, it's this much. I don't want to pay another $110 more, because you cancelled it on me because of whatever stocks, but it's up for sale still on Amazon, but at significantly higher. So I felt like I was getting the shaft here, right? Because I got it really cheap, and I thought that they were just like clearing out all those people that were early, and over time the prices dropped down. And anyway, so you get what I'm saying. I thought I was getting shafted, and I think I was, but it took a lot of back and forth. This is where I like, don't muck with me, right? When I'm set on something, don't muck with me. So I eventually got around to it. I had screenshots of I pulled screenshots from the internet of showing how cheap it's been in history for over the last few months. And this might sound real like anal, but it was a principle of the matter. I want my pre-order bonus guarantee. And I wasn't going to pay an extra $110 more. So I eventually got them down, and I showed them proof of how cheap it's been, but none of those prices were what I was at. I just wanted a happy medium. Like just honor my previous price that I've been monitoring for months, that I can't see record of on my account anymore because he canceled my pre-order. So it says 0, right? And anyway, I eventually won that battle, and they're going to honor it. So I've had to order myself a new copy at a higher price, but I'm going to contact them back. They'll have it all on record, and they're going to reimburse me the difference of $110, whatever it is. So I guess the moral of that story is where I'm going with is just don't roll over. Like if you are generally thinking you're in the right and you think a company has done you wrong, or you're trying to do the right thing and so it just doesn't work out and you get shafted out of something, like just stick to your guns and just show proof, right? I'm getting in the habit now of just screenshotting my order history now of any pre-orders that I've got going forward in case I get cancellations again. So I can just send them an email and go, no, look at that, honor that price, please. So just a pro tip for you. Anyway, so that book, I'll have that probably about March, and I'm looking forward to read that and get my reimbursement, obviously. But anyway, that's a long discussion. I've taken up a lot of time here about just comic books, but I don't get to talk about comic books a lot, so it's all coming out now, and it's been a while. So yeah, anyway, a lot to read. I don't know when I'm going to get through all these books, but I'm also thinking of it as like, hey, what do I do during retirement, right? I'll have all of these books. The retirement's like decades away, but I'll have all these books and stories that I can reread over time, and then whatever else I pick up between now and then, and just have my own library. So in my, my later years, I can reread all these stories or, sell them for a profit, whatever down the road. And, it is what it is. But playing, I'll just go into playing and watching just real quick because it's not been a lot. I just recently started playing the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. And man, it looks awesome. Like graphically, it looks really, really good. Like a lot of frame rate issues. I know it's a beta, but I'm really impressed with it. It feels really good. The online sucks, but I can't believe it, in 2025, Capcom, of all companies, can't figure out how to do online properly. Seriously, my wife and I tried to play quests in that beta. It's an online beta. And we couldn't, for the life of us, figure out how to get ourselves into a game together to share the same world and post the same. Like we had it nailed in Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise. Like it was easy. It made sense on how to do it. It was clunky, but it made sense. And now they've got a brand new game coming out in 2025. Where's the lessons learned? They still haven't figured it out. And if someone wants to correct me on it, tell me how to do it, right? And I'll gladly thank you for it. Because nothing tells you how to do it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't show you how to share a world in that beta. I know it's not the full game, but besides the point, I tried to get my wife into a lobby, but I couldn't see her username and vice versa. So if we're walking around and sharing the same lobby in the same place, in the same world hub, we couldn't see each other or the names floating around. They all said Hunter, right? And so it was a mess, and it soured the experience a little bit. I'm not going to pre-order it anymore. I'm just going to wait. I'll wait for a sale. Hopefully they fix all that kind of stuff, in the first year or shortly thereafter. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of other stuff. VR, been playing an absolute bucket ton of VR. My wife and I got some Meta 3 headsets. Been playing a lot of games on that, Unreal stuff. Asgard's Wrath 2 is incredible. Into Black is really fun. There's a lot of exercise games on there that we've been playing as well. Demio, it's not D&D, but it's kind of a tabletop Dungeons and Dragons game, if you want to call it that. It's not Dungeons and Dragons, but you throw a dice and you move your characters around the board and stuff. It's so much fun. I really enjoyed that. It's very difficult though. Anyway, then Beat Saber and there's all this kind of stuff. Oh, Ragnarok's this drum game. I love it. Anyway, VR, I love it. I can't believe how good it is and immersive it is now. I can't wait to see what the Meta 6 does, a few iterations later. Let's see how we go. But it came bundled with Batman Arkham Shadow. I haven't played that yet because I'm just trying to get through other games and I want to just have a set time where I've got nothing else on and I can just focus on playing this Batman game because it looks a lot of fun. And just, other stuff, man. Just there's too many games to list on here. But yeah, I've been getting into some games still between everything else and just watching for sales because I'm getting quite thrifty at that. And watching, again, I don't really watch a lot of shows. We're starting to watch Arcane Season 2. We watched Mad Men, the whole series recently. That was a really, really good show. And what was a few other things? The Crisis on Infinite Earths trilogy, animated movies. It was better than I thought it was going to be, but it definitely took a lot of liberties that I didn't really like. It didn't feel as epic as the original 1985's comic book, but you know, it's a very difficult story to tell, and I can't believe they did it in 3 movies. I don't think it needed 3 movies. I just think it needed a bit more focus. Anyway, they were good for what they are. My wife liked it, so I'll take that for what it is. Anyway, recent pickups. Oh, look, a lot of action figures. I've been collecting a lot of Marvel Legends, DC Multiverse. I picked up some Turtles. I got some Turtles, Toidles. Nickelodeon 2015 reissues or whatever they are. Really cool, man. I can't believe how cool they are. I haven't had a full set of Turtles before, I don't think. I think my brother and I might have shared a full set. I definitely know we had a Donatello and a Raphael and a Michelangelo and a Leonardo. Oh, maybe we did. Anyway, but myself, I haven't had my own set of 4 Turtles, and this bundle I got came with Shredder and Splinter from that series. Yeah, you can, if I lose them, it's no big deal. But the main 4 Turtles, that's where all the budget came from or went into. And you can tell they're really good figures. And I ended up picking up a Toidle van. They did a reissue Turtle van, an 80s one. And I got rid of all the stickers on it because it looks like crap. It looks cheap. It just looks too toyetic. So I got rid of all the stickers and it looks a lot better now. So I've never had a Turtle van either. So anyway, I've been collecting a bit and just enjoying myself. And that's like a lot of time to be spent on what I've been doing. So if you're still interested in sticking around on what I've been doing, that's a lot. That's a lot. And that's only part of what I've been up to. So yeah, just living life as best I can while working a day job, as you all probably understand. So anyway, thank you, Sasuke, 1995. You've taken up a lot of time here with me rambling on. This is a simple question, and here we go. Anyways, it's good to be back, and hopefully still sticking around. And we'll get stuck into my thoughts on the Fantastic Four trailer. And yeah, let's see how that goes, eh? Yeah, all right.